What's the crack, everyone? Today's video marks the beginning of a series all about Irish archery and Irish archery traditions. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, I've done some previous videos on Irish archery traditions, as well as some of the finds around arrowheads and some of the unique things found in Ireland. But I wanted to do a video really dedicated to a very unique topic, and one that I very rarely see brought up, and one that I think a huge amount of people are not aware of, and that it very much seems that there was a very distinctive Irish archery tradition that is pretty much glossed over, and it seems to be in a lot of academic circles that it is believed that archery was kind of imported into Ireland. Now, there is definitely a period in Ireland where archery doesn't really seem to be utilised by the Irish in combat, and then during the Viking incursions seems to kind of uptake again, and obviously with the Normans and subsequent invasions it definitely kind of increases during those periods. But in prehistoric times, and especially with Bronze Age finds, we have a number of very, very unique finds in Ireland, and that is what I want to talk about in this video. Now, if you are interested in my work and want to see more of it, and especially the projects that I have upcoming around building these bows, please do go check out my Patreon. I put up weekly martial arts videos and content on there. You can train with me personally, and I'll also leave links down to my class and description as well, should you want to do Irish martial arts with me in person. Now, the Irish bows seem to have a very, very distinct set of features, and I actually went looking for information on medieval Irish bows that I had seen that I thought were very unique, and I had not really seen similar examples elsewhere, only to find a fantastic paper by a gentleman by the name of Stephen Lawler. Now, I couldn't find any more details about him. He was a student in UCD, but he did absolutely fantastic work on researching Irish Bronze Age bows. Now, as is tradition with this channel, I'm going to bring up pictures of what I'm talking about as I start to discuss them. But what seems to be the go-to thing in Ireland is that we have self bows, which means bows made from a single piece of wood, generally in a range of close to about 2 meters in length, or 6 foot-ish for our imperial viewers. And the big thing with these bows is that they're pretty much all universally made from yew. Almost all these bows were found in bogs, so obviously the ratio of heartwood to sapwood, which is basically the two kind of different types of wood within the yew tree, are quite hard to distinguish due to the bog staining the wood. However, I will try find more information on that in the future. But the most unique characteristic, and the thing that is unique across all of these bows and is into the medieval period, both the early medieval period with the Vikings and even into the Norman period and slightly beyond, is that these Irish bows have two very distinctive characteristics that I have not seen anywhere else. Number one is that they have eyelets in the top. So for those who don't know, and I'll bring up some images of this so you can see what I'm talking about. So most bows traditionally have a nock in the top for the string to sit in. This is what holds the string in place when you are shooting the bow. Now, the interesting thing about all of these Bronze Age Irish finds is that they all, every single one, have eyelets in the top. In other words, holes drilled through the bow with no other indication that a string was wrapped around it, and no possible way for a string to be wrapped around it. So it means that universally they all were using an eyelet, at least on one end, some on both, as a way to hold the string in place. Now, this is fascinating in my mind because it shows that there is a divergent tradition in Ireland compared to even England and the rest of Western Europe that had a specific bow making tradition. Now, it's not just the eyelets that are unique. I think 4 of the examples of these bows have furrows carved in the back of the bow. So for those who aren't familiar with archery, if I'm holding a bow in my left hand, the part that faces me is called the belly, and the part that faces away from me is the back. Just like if I'm talking to you, the part that is facing you is my belly, and the part that's facing away is my back. Exact same thing when we talk about archery and the use of bows. A few examples of these have furrows carved in them. And again, I'll be bringing up images as I'm discussing this, but this is fascinating. Like, I've not seen bows with this before. And this seems to be a very, very unique tradition in Ireland. Now, obviously, most of these bows are Bronze Age, but the tradition of having eyelets in them and using yew for these self bows seems to be a very specific Irish tradition, and one that I've not seen discussed, and it's something that I really want to dive deeper into. I do hope to get hold of some yew in the not too distant future and actually make some of these bows myself and test them out and see what sort of speed and power I can get out of them. So if that's something you're interested in, please do stay tuned and like and subscribe so you can stay on top of that. Now, we have bows found mostly in the northwest region of Ireland, but some of them, on the eastern coast as well. I wrote this down because some of these names are easy to mix up. So we have, for Bronze Age bows, we have a bow found in North Donegal. This seems to be the most intact and the most, interesting of all finds, because you get the full size and dimensions of the bow. We have one in Drumwinny. We have one in Ballymackehola. Interesting name. Inniskeen. We have one in Barrysbrook, and we have the final one in Newtown, Dunor. Now, like I said, all of these bows have eyelets in them. Some of them have furrows carved in them, others do not. But all of them have quite distinct furrows in them. One of the images that I was able to get shows quite up close some of the furrows. Now, obviously, these bows being found in bogs, all of them are in various different states of intactness. Some are just the tips, some are more intact than others, and obviously the North Donegal bow is the most intact of the lot. Now, I find these absolutely fascinating. If anyone has more information on these bows, and obviously on the other medieval and Norman bows, please feel free to get in touch. This is a really interesting find, one that I really have not seen discussed, and one I really want to dive further into because I think this is fascinating. It seems to be that there is an indigenous tradition of bow making in Ireland that seems to kind of be glossed over in preference for English and Norman bows of later periods, and seems to be very much ignored. Obviously those bows overtook as time went, but it seems to be from the early medieval period right the way back into prehistory, we had an indigenous type of bow that was being used here and developed here and seems to be widespread across the country. So really, really fascinating stuff, and I really hope everyone finds this stuff useful. I am in the middle of a huge archery project. I'm doing all sorts of different things at the moment. Right here at my feet I have horn knocks that I am putting in arrows at the moment. There will be videos on how to make these, so for those who are interested, those are some, if it'll focus, those are some horn knocks going into some arrows that I will be making up soon as well. So, like I said, this is the video I'd want to make. This will be part of a larger series. I'm going to be showing not just those arrows, also various methods of bow building and other interesting craft projects that will be a little bit of a change from the usual videos that you see on this channel, but obviously I will keep these history videos going. And obviously if you're interested in any specific topics and any types of videos, and if there's anything you want to see and want to see discussed, please do let me know. I had a recent request to discuss rapparees. That is something that I will definitely touch on because it's a really, really fascinating part of Irish history that has so much interesting lore and traditions around it. So if there's anything you would like to see, please do let me know. And obviously, like I said, if you're interested in videos around martial arts directly from me, as well as one-to-one videos or one-to-one training with me, you'll find links to my Patreon down in the description, and obviously links to my class as well. So what do you guys think? Do you think there is a distinctive tradition in Ireland? Because this, I think, really, really goes to show that there is evidence around that. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't, I know a big percentage of you haven't, please do subscribe. We're closing in on the 5,000 mark. That was my goal for this year, and I really can't thank everyone enough for the support. The channel is growing phenomenally, and just huge thank you to everyone who has shown their support. Like I said, this is the beginning of a big series. There'll be a lot of interesting stuff to come, so do stay tuned. Thank you very, very much, and slán.